Yo, what's good, people? It's Iversile here with my first ever video. Pretty excited to get into this. I noticed a lot of Roblox scripting tutorials nowadays are kind of outdated. So I thought, you know what? I think it's about time. It's about time somebody updated the scripting scene. And why don't I do it myself? So this is going to be a pretty long series, I'm presuming. I don't think I will stop it for any particular reason. It's going to go for a while. For a while, because I do want to cover a lot of more advanced topics to help. Because back when I was learning to script, I never got any advanced help with scripting and developing frameworks and different methods of scripting. I never really got in-depth tutorials of how to do that stuff. I kind of had to figure it out by myself, and that took a lot of time. It would have been a lot better if I just had a layout, that somebody who was experienced kind of already knew already to teach me how to do these things. But nevertheless, sit back. Aversal is here to drop some wisdom bombs here. But seriously, welcome aboard. In this video, I'm just going to be introducing the concept of a script because after all, this is a scripting tutorial, a scripting series. So it's probably going to involve a lot of scripts. But before I talk about scripts, I think it's important how we approach scripting because scripting can be seen as this hard topic or, there's a certain way you have to do something or even what you need to know. This was a personal thing with me is I thought I had to know everything about every single detail. And that really just isn't the case. The point of scripting is to give you a set of tools to help you build your game. That's fundamentally all it is. But I would often find myself wondering, like, okay, well, why does this work? What are the specific features of this function or this or this or this? And really, you just need to know how it works, why it works, just the surface layer. You don't need to go so into detail unless you're like somebody who's into that. I can understand that. But we need to take this in steps. There are certain things that I am going to obfuscate for a certain amount of time until it becomes relevant, right? Because I think the best way to learn how to script is to just pick stuff up as we go. I want to do this thing, and therefore this thing is going to be very useful to us in scripting. So I don't want you to have a fearful mindset or this feeling like you have to know every single aspect of everything. It's a never ending journey of learning. So please don't be nervous about any of this stuff. Any of the stuff I'm going to show you, please just trust me, listen to what I have to say, do what I do, and eventually, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 episodes later, everything will just click. There's only so much intuition that you can have about each topic I'm going to talk about until it just comes down to muscle memory. So, we all good? We're all good. All right. Let's go ahead and just open up a base plate here. I'm going to presume you already know about Roblox Studio. If you don't, I'm going to link a video in the description. Go watch that, then come back, and we're going to get right into it. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to right click on this little service called a server script service. Now, once again, as I said, you don't need to immediately understand intuitively what a service is. But let me give you just a brief idea of what it is. I'll give you some surface level intuition. Basically, a service is the services are like the organs of the game. And the game is really just the game that you make. So if I highlight all of this stuff, all of these services in the Explorer, these are sort of our primary services. And these primary services are the main organs of the game. So I think for now, that's all you really need to think of it as. Server script service is basically a service that lets you put server scripts in them or in it. And a server script is going to look like this. It's going to have a little piece of paper with some drawing, and it's going to say script. Make sure it does not say module script or local script. It should say script. Click, and we opened up our first script. Now, do not worry, you do not need to know what a server script is, but you might be wondering, what is this print hello world statement? What is that? Well, let's go ahead and delete it. Let's just cross that and then backspace. Deleted. Now, I presume you should know how to run your game. Let's click on that. And you're going to have this little, if you don't have this window, output, I'm just going to exit out of it. Go to view, and then click on this button here, output. And I presume you already have Explorer and Properties open because obviously like you need those two open. But you notice all this jargon kind of came in here, blah, 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 blah. None of this matters, okay? That's not the point. We're going to stop the game. So now you have output open. Let's go ahead and write that statement that we got when we first opened the script. So hello, print hello world. I think it was this, right? I think so. Well, actually, let's just delete this so you can cut it. Right click, cut it. Right click, insert object, script. And you see we get the same thing. So every time you open a script, or sorry, every time you create a script, you insert it into the server script service or wherever. I recommend you only put server scripts in the server script service because that's the most secure way of creating scripts, and I will explain that in a very later episode. But let's just remember, just pound it in your head. Always put server scripts in the server script service. Always do that. Always remember to do that. And for now, the answer I will give you is it is the most secure way of creating server scripts. And once again, you also don't need to know what a server script is. That's fine. But either way, every time you create a script, it's going to have this little print hello world statement. And we're going to go ahead and just click inside of these double parentheses here. And you can see it explains to us how all this works. Print string blah, 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 blah. So it says it prints all provided values to the output, any number of arguments to be outputted. So you notice it says prints all provided values to the output. The output. Oh, whoopsie. Hold up. Okay, there. The output. This is the output window. So how is it going to print out? Well, let's see. Let's run the game. What's different? Let's see. Wait, do you see that? Hello world. Let's click on it. It takes us back to our script. So you're probably wondering, what is the output? The output is kind of like a messaging helper of sorts. And it basically interacts with your scripts and prints out any information that's important. And there are different types of messages from scripts that can be printed out. But just take keyword takes information from scripts and prints it out. But you have to explicitly put it in a print statement. Hence why I said it prints it out, but you have to put it in a print statement in your script. And we can see once again it says prints all provided values to the output. So you're probably wondering, what exactly is this format? The way that I wrote this, okay, I understand what this does. It prints out this hello world into the output. But you're probably wondering, why doesn't it print out these? Why doesn't it print out the brackets? Why doesn't it print out any of that stuff? And it's because of the format syntax. Syntax is kind of like the language that we're using to describe what we want to do. Because coding isn't just English. I'm sure you figured that out by now because this might not make any sense. And that's fine. You don't need to understand it. Let's break it down. But first, let me show you something. So make sure that you have two double quotation marks, right? These two here. Make sure it looks like mine. And you'll notice if I type out pizza, for instance, and I click run, look what it prints out in my output. Pizza. Okay, let me give you a more practical example. Let me say this script isn't working. This script is not working. We're not getting what we need. Oh, I got it. The script isn't working. Okay, where is it? Oh, I click on it and it opens the script. That's a practical example, and we're gonna have to do that later on, and I'm gonna show you how later. But that's kind of like an introduction to a later episode. So let's get into data types. There are three main data types I want to introduce now. If I don't know, three, four, I don't know, but let's write some stuff down here. So the first one we've already seen, which is a string, right? And you know this because it prints right here. Now let's say I just erase everything in here and I put the number 5. It's not string anymore, it's number. So I've just shown you two data types, a string and a number. A string is just text, essentially. That's all it is. But you have to put it in between double quotations, like a quote, right? I'm quoting Mark. He said, I like pie. I don't know. But yeah, you get the point. Double quotations indicate a string. No double quotations and just a number indicates a number data type. And if you think about it, it's just a type of data. Data can be stored as a number. It can be stored as a string, which is just text. That's how Roblox works. And you're going to see why these types of data are more useful when you get more experienced. For now, you just need to know, just get this in your head, because these things are going to be very useful to you in your later in your scripting journey. Oh yeah, and I also never printed out a number yet. So let's print that out. And you can see right here, printed it out. 53425, 53425. So that's neat. We can print out strings or text, and we can print out numbers. Well, what else can we do with this? Well, let me tell you something cool. You can actually do math with printing. But you might be wondering, why is this formatted like this? Why are there brackets here? Those brackets are going to be common in what are called functions. And inside of these parentheses are what are called arguments, which are just the things that you want to be done with the function, which is print. Now, obviously, you don't need to know what a function is right now because we're not talking about functions. I will go over that explicitly in a separate video. But specifically, what this function is it's called a variadic function. And I will go over this explicitly in a separate video. Now, I'll also bring up print in that video so you kind of fully get the intuition for what print is. However, this is of course the first video you're watching on scripting. I am not going to ever expect you to know what any of these things are. I'm just giving you basic information so that maybe if you want to research on your own a little, when I bring up stuff like keywords that you might not understand, that's kind of me hinting that like you can go research it yourself, but really you don't have to worry about it because I'm going to explicitly tell you what that is later on when it becomes useful. But either way, just know that out of all of that esoteric gibberish, the point is you can put any amount of arguments. Remember, arguments, I said, were just the thing that you want to be done with the function, which is print. And you might ask, what does that look like? Well, let's write a string. Remember, double quotations, hello. And if we run, and we click on run here, and it loads, we will get the text hello in the output. Ain't that cool? Let's stop. Let's go back to our script. Let's add another argument. Because hello is an argument. Let's add another argument. Put a comma. Put a space. Now let's put the number 8. What do you think is going to happen? Well, let's find out. Let's go. Wouldn't you know it? Hello, 8. But you might be asking me, well, actually, I know you're asking me, why is there a space between hello and 8? Well, I'm going to explain that. So, first of all, I want you to know why this might be useful. Let's say let's say you want to print out a string and a number in the same print. Well, I can do this, print 5. Well, there you go. I just printed hello and 5 separately. And let's run this. And you can see they occur one after the other. So hello runs first, 5 runs next. And you might wonder why. And I'll tell you why. It's because hello is on the first line, whereas print 5 is on the second line. So whatever, it goes top to bottom for this sort of stuff. And you can also see that right here. So script 1, script 2, that means the line. And this is the name of the script. Okay, sorry, I had to do something for a minute. I'm back. But as far as I remember, we were talking about script 1, script 2, which means, okay, this is the name of the script. This is the line that the thing above it, was executed. Look, script 2, 5. Line 2 of script printed 5. That's correct. Now let's just rename our script. So click on it, make sure it's blue, then click the name itself, and it'll open this little thing where you can kind of type it. Let's say Bob. Okay, and if you couldn't do that, just right click it, go to rename, and then it'll do the same thing. So let's run this again. Let's run it, and look what we get. Bob 2, Bob, Bob 1. And if we click on the statement itself, it leads us to the line that it was printed on. So if I click 5, it goes to the second line. So that's pretty cool. That's what the output, that's a nice feature of the output. So let's go back into Bob here. Now let's say I wanted to print this on the same line. Maybe I want it to be neat, or maybe I want it to present itself a certain way. So let's just get rid of this, because we want to do it on the same line. And if I remember correctly, I already showed you this comma, which means we're going to add another argument, and we're going to put 5. 5 is, sorry, hello, this string is the first argument. 5 is the second argument. An argument is something that we are going to print out in this specific print function. The comma separates each argument, so each thing that we're going to print out, with a space. So when we run this, we're going to get hello space 5. You're probably wondering, how do I do it without a 5? That doesn't make any sense. What if I didn't want a space there? Well, that's fine. You don't have to do that. There's another way, and this is what's called concatenation. Concatenation basically just connects two arguments together without a space. And you'll see when I print this, it's going to print hello and then 5, but there's no space. So that's how you can connect two things. Because I mean, otherwise, there's not really any way you can just write 5. Like, you can't just do this. That's incorrect. That's incorrect syntax, which is the language we're using. This is not how the language works. You want to include two data types. Well, then you have to either concatenate, which is 2 dots. So let's say hello dot dot 5. And concatenate, like I said, connects two arguments. So two things that we're going to print, but it doesn't put a space between them. And if you're clever, you might have realized there is still a way to put a space between these two. How do you do it? Well, you make a space in the string. And you'll see that if I run this like this, it's actually just going to make a space at the end of our string, and then we print 5 without a space. But since there's already a space there, sorry, I didn't click run there, it's going to have a space. Hello, 5. I have had instances where I had to connect a string with another data type. So that is important to know. So concatenating just means you're connecting two arguments or two things that you're going to print, but it doesn't put a space between them, as long as you don't have a space in your string. And then obviously I made the other example of just making two separate arguments with a comma. The comma basically separates two arguments, so two things you're going to print. And I'll keep saying that over and over again, okay? You got to get this drilled in your head. An argument is just the thing that you are going to print in this specific function, the print function, okay? And we're going to talk about functions later. Don't worry. But just drill that in your head. That is what an argument is. It's just the thing that you're going to print. So we're going to print hello. Let's say we want another argument. Well, if you want two data types, you have to separate them, either with concatenation, which is the dot dot, or by putting a comma. And always remember that concatenating does not put a space between your two data types, whereas comma puts a space between your two arguments, the two things you're going to print. You might be wondering, well, these arguments, how many arguments can I have? You can have as many as you want. I could print 1, 2, hello. I could print pizza. Sorry about that. I could print 56. I could print as many as you want, and the list goes on, dot, dot, dot. And so, if I predict correctly, all of these should have spaces between them, and they will all be in the same line. And there you go. 1, 2, hello, pizza 56, all on line 1. So now you should know kind of what an argument is. It's just the thing that you want to print out with this print function. I don't really know what else to call it for now because you don't know what a function is, like print statement, the print statement. And by statement, I just mean whatever is inside of this. All of this stuff combined is called the statement, basically the thing that you're printing. I'll just call it that for now because I mean, saying print function might make it a little more confusing. So we'll say the print statement. And statement, once again, just means whatever I put in here. So let's say I put hello, oh my lord. Okay, 3, 5, Bob. Hello, 3, 5, Bob. That is the statement. Whatever is in between these parentheses, that is the statement. We have a print statement. Hopefully that makes a little more sense. So, I should know what an argument is. It's the thing that you're trying to print. You can have as many arguments as you want in a print statement. So we have hello. So 1, then we have a comma. So 2, another comma, 3, another comma, 4. Comma is how you know you have more than one argument. Well, unless you put it in another statement. So let's say I have a comma in this print statement. Hello, my name is Abersile. Well, obviously that's the same argument. But if you have it outside of this double quotations, well, we just have a regular comma here, which indicates that we're going to the next argument. So we have 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4 arguments. We have 4 arguments. So 4 things we're going to print. And I should clarify, when you concatenate, which means you connect two data types. So if I say hello dot dot 5, this is one argument because you still have to put a comma to separate the next thing. Oh, don't worry about what that means. Okay, dude, I swear I did not mean to type that. Like, I just put 3 random letters into my keyboard and that just happened to be what I wrote. I swear, dude. But either way, so concatenating does not make more than one argument. This is all one argument. But once you see the comma and you go to the next thing, that is what indicates the next argument. So either way, now you know what a string is. You know what a number is. You know what an argument is. You know what a print statement is. You know what a print statement does. You know what concatenation is. You know what the comma does. So once you've reviewed all of that information, that is all I want you to know. Okay, this variadic function, all this crap, you do not need to know that. You don't need to know any of that. I just want you to get familiar with the syntax. Oh yeah, that's another word you should learn, syntax. In the most simple way, syntax is just the language that we're using when we code. That's all it is. That's all you need to write down if you're writing down notes. You can write down notes if you want, you don't have to. But there is one last thing I want to talk about before I end this video. Good job if you've made it this far. I'm sorry if I fried your brain. If not, good job. Keep following. But I hope this isn't too overwhelming. I hope this is making sense. I'm going to explain a lot more next video. We're going to get into a lot of different stuff, which is going to explain a lot of this stuff that I've talked about. Like, once again, it doesn't have to be solidified. Of course it doesn't. It is going to take time. Now, let me stop holding you up. We're going to get to the last topic, and we're going to talk about arithmetic. I'm going to assume you know what arithmetic is. It's basically adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So I'm only going to use those 4. There are other math operators that you can use in scripting, but I'm not going to go over those. Those are more advanced in relation to what we're doing anyway. And I will cover those in another video. But we're going to stick to those main 4, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, division. You might be asking, what can I do in this print statement, and how does that relate to the math? Well, let's do 2 plus 2. We're adding numbers, so we're going to use a number data type. And you know it's a number data type because it doesn't have quotations around it. And often, I don't know if this is going to be the case for you, but number data types and string data types are going to be different color. So you can see on mine it's green, and then the orange is the number data type. This will probably not be the case for you. I don't know if it will be, maybe it will be, but those colors actually indicate what they are. Like for instance, if I write 2 plus 2 here, it's green, but here it's orange. And the plus symbol is white or gray. I don't know exactly what it is. But that indicates we're actually adding. 2 plus 2 as a string. What do you think that would print out? Well, let's click run. Let's click run. So we have two arguments. 2 plus 2 and it's 2 plus 2 as a string. So you could see that in the first argument, we did 2 plus 2, comma, so next argument, string, 2 plus 2. So you can see, remember when we put a comma, it puts a space between the first argument and the second argument. So the first argument is 2 plus 2. We get 4. Isn't that interesting? We can do math with our print statements. But then we go to the string. It literally prints out the string 2 plus 2, or the text, sorry. So don't confuse that. It's actually going to print out exactly what you write. It is not going to do the math. You have to do it in the syntax, using the syntax, which is just the language that defines the code and how everything works, basically. So let's stop and let's just do subtraction. So we can do 2 minus 2. What do you think that's going to be? I'm going to leave it to your imagination. Of course, it's 0. Then let's do multiplying. I think this should kind of make sense, but I'm just going to do it anyway. The multiplying is the star, which is Shift 8 on your keyboard. It should be. We get 2 times 2, which is 4. And then we have 2 divided by 2, which is slash. So 2 slash 2. Of course, it's going to be 1. That is the syntax or the language to describe to do the math. So slash is division, star is multiplication, dash is minus, and shift plus is, or shift equals will give you plus, which is the symbol for addition. So that's how you do all that stuff. And obviously you can do as many terms as you want. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 times 2. And it'll do all the math in the correct order. So it should give you 2 times 2, 4 plus 2, which is 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So it should give you 14 if it does PEMDAS, PEDMAS, I don't know, whatever. Whatever it's defined as for you. And obviously, yeah, it gives you 14 because it did it in the PEDMAS, PEMDAS. I don't know, there's so many versions of it. But yeah, it's going to do that. So that is the last thing I'm going to go over, arithmetic. So by now you should know kind of what a print statement is, what you can do with a print statement. You should know what an argument is and what separates arguments. You should know that you should be able to have as many arguments as you want. You should know what a string is, kind of vaguely. I hope you understand what a string is. It's basically just text. You should know what a number is, which is just a number. You should kind of vaguely know what concatenation is, which means you can connect two data types. Oh, and you should have a basic understanding of how to read the output. Most of this stuff is junk. Maybe I've explained that. I don't know. But the only thing that matters is what comes from your script. You have the script name, and then the line that the code was executed on. And then you have the output, the print statement, and that is whatever is inside here. You should know that you should always put your server scripts in the server script service because it is the most secure way of creating your scripts. Your server scripts, which I will get into in a later video, just know you should put it in your server script service. These scripts right here, it should look like that. If it doesn't look like that or have that icon, then it's not a server script. This is a server script. You don't need to know what that is, but just remember, if it has its icon, you should always be putting it in the server script service. So that's all I really expect from you in this video. If you need to do a little practice, like you want to get familiar with print statements and see what kind of wacky stuff you can do with it, If you want to ask me questions, like if you've done anything with print statements and you're kind of confused about something, feel free to comment. I will try to answer everything I can. But that about wraps up this tutorial. I'm really excited to kickstart this journey. We're gonna hopefully be pumping out a lot more scripting tutorials. Gonna try to upload consistently. I hope I can. I hope I did a good job on this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it helped. Please let me know if something I said did not make sense. If there's something that I said that I kind of just assumed you knew, because I don't want to assume that you know anything. I try to let you know if there is stuff that you should know, and like if I say something and you don't get it, I will try to let you know like if it's actually something you need to know or not. But if I really did miss something, please let me know. I appreciate any feedback that I can get so I can help improve. This is my first video. So, but anyways, if you watched to the end, I appreciate it a lot. If you want to subscribe and follow my tutorials, if you want to like the video as well, I would really appreciate that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped you out, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, adios.